Hi guys, today we have a very special call. Recently, my friend and I were contacted by people from the future. We had brief but very pleasant conversation already. They have very inspiring thoughts and great life experience. So today, we will have a live call with them to get more details about a creative society. You're welcome to join. They are already in Zoom. I have to go now. See you there in a minute. Thank you, friends, for connecting and having this conversation today. We hope your teleportation went easily and nicely.
Hello from Jupiter orbit. This is Mark Ahern.
Hi everyone, I'm Nicole. It's great to be here.
Hello everyone, this is Sagar. Good to be here.
Hello, this is Sofie Nubani.
Hello, I'm Richard Kiernicki. I'm very happy to be here today with everyone and really looking forward to sharing some of these way out of the current time zone issues.
It is so amazing to have you all here with us. We are very interested to ask questions about our future. It looks like we are going to live on different planets and even in different space environments in the future. And I was very surprised to learn that you, Mark, live on Earth's orbit. Why did you choose to live there?
Well, I'm living on a space habitat that normally revolves around Earth, but at the moment I'm actually revolving around Jupiter. So it can go from place to place. My work involves the collection of asteroids to build more space stations. So it's mostly done by artificial intelligence, but at the moment we're going close to Jupiter. So there's not much involved in my job, but it's more or less to make sure the AI keep running, you know. I think at times I'm little more than their little pet, but it's a good life, you know. Surprisingly, being in a space habitat, I can go to the park, which is right outside the door anytime I want. There's about 10,000 people living in the habitat, you know, so it's a nice, lovely little community, you know. It's brilliant. You can go on spacewalks when you want. Only an hour or two ago, I was having a look at Jupiter and its moons through a fluorescent mirror kind of thing that we can look at, you know. So it really is breathtaking, and this is the way I want to live my life.
That's incredible. If Earth's orbit and other planets are so approachable, looks like people in the future are able to travel to other planets as easily as to other continents. Sagar, do you have any plans also for visiting other planets?
Of course. So, yeah. So we booked our vacation on Mars, and then on our way back, we're going to have adventurous moonwalk. I mean, walking on a moon is going to be an adventure for kids, and we are all going to enjoy it. And that's what our vacation will look like.
That's awesome. By the way, Richard, before you mentioned that you just came back from the moon, can you share with us your impressions?
Thank you so much, Alina, for asking. After watching the moon for many, many, many years of my life, it was quite a contrast to view the Earth from the moon. So my first observation was truly not really looking back at where I was coming from. So the flight to the moon was amazing, but you're looking towards the moon and the distant galaxies and stars. And all of a sudden, when you land on the moon and you have that moment to turn around and look behind you, so to speak, all of a sudden you see the blue dot, as so many people have referred to it in the past. Standing here for the first time and looking back over that, it's overwhelming to know that we have the opportunity to be able to move throughout our solar system and to continue to expand humanity's reach. It's very exciting to be a part of these moments.
Yes, it's exciting indeed. So travel in space is so adventurous, but we are also curious to learn a little more about travel on Earth. From our fantasy movies, we see people in the future using flying vehicles, simple teleportation. Is it something that you have in future?
So I use the door portal. Some genius created a door portal that will take me wherever I want to go in seconds, and it's powered by goodwill and well-being. So it's self-sustaining and will exist forever because I can. So I write. I'm in Crete, which is hard to beat, on the beach with beautiful clear oceans, but in seconds, I can be in Sicily researching one of my characters, walking over the cobbles and feel the cobbles under my feet. I can taste blood oranges in fennel salad or finocchio e aranciata insalata. Or tomorrow, if I am feeling a little bit hot in Crete, and let's be serious, July and August in Crete is a bit hot, I can go to Iceland. And you know what? All the glaciers are back. The ice is back. All the animals are back. So it's beautiful, and we can just see whales in the sea as we used to be able to do. It's absolutely stunning. And I can also, if you just want to have Sunday lunch with your mum, you can just pop to Australia and have Sunday lunch with your mum.
Awesome. By the way, did you ask your mom whether she want to see you before you teleported, or you just surprise her with your appearance?
Surprise is probably one word. Shock would be the other. No, we tried to all be there at the same time because apparently that's what mums want. They want all the kids and all the grandkids there at the same time. And of course, she doesn't even have to cook these days. We've got all of this automation. She just decides what she wants to cook, so she doesn't waste any of her energy on preparing for us. It's all just ready to go, and we could spend our energy and time just chatting.
Awesome. So it looks like people are so connected and friendly. And I feel like you also switching professions so fast. For example, Dr. Sofie, before you mentioned that you used to be a coach and a writer, and now you are flying a spacecraft. So unusual. Why did you decide to learn this skill? Was it difficult to learn?
Oh, for example, people learn all types of skills, and I love learning. I even love learning languages. As a global citizen, I was always so curious to finding out more about different planets and space and continents. And now through neurofeedback, biofeedback, you can have extreme focus and deep learning through the programs that are available. It makes it fast and much easier. So it's really fun and cool. And one of my core values was always freedom, and flying a spacecraft just makes me really connect to the feeling of freedom in a profound way.
I love it. It is so inspiring to know that adults have many options to change their profession. But what about kids? How do kids receive education?
So what I can share about education and children, it's completely different now. The education is now about more creativity, more freedom, and learning. Most of the things are being handled automated and AI, which means the learning is now with the real education that you need, which is about managing your mind and your body, which means breathing consistently and breathing correctly forms the first stage of learning. And that has created enormous a healthy atmosphere, and we all are, learning different ways to achieve mind, body, and good peace.
Amazing.
Yes, if I can add, one of the things that a non-financial community that has brought us to the opportunity to be able to do whatever it is that we truly want from the perspective of education. And Sagar, with your ideas, one of the things that I think we're becoming more in tune with is the vibration of our hearts, so that we find our own true message, the gift that we were given. The simple reality is that once we continue to allow that energy to flow through us, and we find the work that makes us feel totally unique and supported and just in a really comfortable place, then we can sit back and say, truly, we're mastering our own magnificence. We're really being able to reach out and touch the lives of other people in ways that working for a living would never have allowed us to do.
Yes, and I would also like to add, I suppose the difference between now and the past is, in the past, there might be no place in the economy for certain people and that, whereas now with the new educational opportunities, there's a future for everybody in society, Obviously, women no longer have to get pregnant or anything like that. There's machines that can be incubated. So we're currently undergoing a population explosion. I myself have about 20 kids so far. So it's a really bright future, and there's just still so much to explore. There's so much needed. Each human is needed so badly, because there is just an infinite amount of worlds out there to be colonized and to be enjoyed.
What a wonderful future is ahead of us. By the way, how advanced is healthcare in our future society? What do you do with cancer, for example?
We boil it. Actually, health has become not an issue. Obviously, some people are born, we identify any of their prospective issues, and now it's resolved. But a lot of the issues that are around healthcare were around people not feeling free, not able to pursue their passions and purposes, not being able to live where they wanted, with who they wanted. And now all of that's been restricted. We're global citizens. In fact, we're universal citizens, so we can live wherever we choose to be. We can find our tribe and the people that share our interests wherever we are. The fear of difference is gone. It's weird to believe that only 30 years ago people were afraid of people that didn't talk like them or look like them. And the door portal, you have the universal translator. So when you walk through the door, you can speak Italian or Pakistani or Urdu or Indigenous Australian languages. So all of a sudden we're understanding and communicating better. A lot of the fear's gone. A lot of our frustration that people used to feel back then when they couldn't do what they loved, that stress is gone as well. So we can identify any genetic issues. People aren't in pain. They're not frustrated. They're happy. And that well-being shows through in their health. It's no longer okay. Well, we don't have to worry about health, well-being. Cancer was an issue 30 years ago. It's now resolved. We understand how it works and it's fixed before it becomes a problem.
Yes, and relieving ourselves from the system of capitalism and profitability allowed us to really go out and seek the natural cures that were already present way before we lost and fell into pharmaceutical and technology and chemistry and biology of things of that nature. We truly found that by resonating at different frequencies, among other things, that we're able to optimize our physical health and retain an image of youthfulness and energy and pure health, because it resonates within the entire universe. And human beings are the first ones that have actually really been able to remove things like pharmaceutical companies and chemical compounds and all of these different things that were helping us deal with disease in the past. And now we have that beauty to just recognize that we can, plug a part of our body into a scanner, and it shows us that we're 7,000, vibrations lower than what we need to have in the context of being optimally fit. So fitness and healthcare are all of a sudden completely organic and very natural, and more people are really truly understanding what they need to do to be able to run at that optimal health on a regular and consistent basis. So disease is down, transfer of disease is down, people are happier, they're actually living longer, and to what everybody else is also talking about, that we're all moving through all of these different places. So when you have your health, it's so easy for us to be able to move to different stars and to different countries and to have pizza at lunch, Nicole, and to have perhaps some kind of avocado salad for dinner. But anyway, it's wonderful because when we leave the profitability behind, we can actually focus on humanity's actual issues. And then since there's no money required to do any research, then the research is continuously abundant, and we're finding ways to do things that we could never have dreamed of before. So it's such an exciting time to be in the world and in other worlds, while all of these new ideas and thoughts and vibrations are all crossing through us and sharing with other Earth people as well as other people in our galaxies.
Let's face it, none of us had any trouble having energy for what we loved. It was doing the things we didn't love that took our energy, and now we all get to do what we love, and we can work through the seasons. It was hard to find the time to make an avocado salad. They just grow naturally. It's easy. We get to eat fresh, fabulous food. It's in abundance, and we work with the seasons. And as our bodies and the natural world work together, we're just naturally healthier. I don't have any trouble finding energy for writing. I'm quite sure that if I lived in a time where I had to clean my house, I would find trouble finding energy for that.
Yeah, indeed. Sounds like healthcare reached completely new level, and it's very different as we know it right now. And based on those active lifestyle that this new level allowed, do you guys feel any generational differences under those conditions?
Artificial conscious technology really minimized this gap completely, because everybody's just in our society is full of energy. The elderly feel youthful, and the youth feel and get wiser. So it's really, really minimizes that. We don't even feel it. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. It's wonderful to see that people in creative society are so full of spirit and energy. Can you give us some more examples of how do you use artificial intelligence in your routine?
I can. I totally agree with Sophie. Actually, a lot of the restrictions have been taken away. And as a writer, can I just say, older people have more stories. How joyful is that? The more stories, the better, as far as I'm concerned. But we don't have to clean our apartments. I personally think that's the greatest creation in artificial intelligence. We don't have to clean up. It just does it, and it's perfect. I love 3D printers. So you've just decided you might move to Iceland just for a few months to check it out, and you can just 3D print a house to live in while you're there, and then somebody else can use it later on. And making food's easy because I'm a dreadful cook, but you would not believe what I could actually cook with artificial intelligence.
Wow. From your answers, I see that the routine is so different from what we have right now. Do you still watch movies? If so, how? What characters are popular?
Well, I absolutely love to watch movies in my downtime. I didn't enjoy the movies of my, I guess you could say, my middle age, but I really enjoyed the movies from the 30s and the 40s. And it gives you such a wonderful sensation of where humanity, for the most part, really truly did have a little bit of a different sense of their own integrity and the kindness that they showed people. And yes, there was some element of crime, and yes, there was some element of some of the other greed and corruption and manipulation that human beings need to be able to resolve. And we've gone to resolve that in most of our new movies today, because we don't really have an agreement that we're out there to fight the devils of space or deep space and the alien life, okay, that once scared us. Humanity was always sort of such that what scared you, what you feared, okay, was the thing that you fought. But we've been able to embrace those fears by recognizing that at the end of the day, through our own vibration, we're able to connect with all sorts of other people in a truthful way, because truth resonates at a frequency that the non-truth can't resonate at. So hence, I love the old movies. I think they give great insight into humanity. You can see the shift into the problems, but the best part of shifting into the problems was that we're now so well on our way to shifting for the solutions of those problems and starting to live in our peace and harmony and our sharing and our families and the desires that we have to fulfill, really any aspect of our own individuality and creation. So whatever we can have in our mind, we can create. So to all of the motivational speakers that have basically said, you think and you are, or you think and it appears, now in true society and in our society today, we can actually make those things happen. So it's amazing to be able to look back and just say, wow, imagine what these people don't know what was coming, and now what we can see and what we can do going into the future takes us so much farther in the expansion.
Yeah, I love your statement about truth resonation, and actually the way you live required a lot of shifts in mind and mindset. By the way, trends are changing so fast with time. Probably fashion will be different as well. Dr. Sofie, what do you wear? Are there any breakthroughs in the quality and properties of clothing, for example, shoes?
Yes. It's really cool that you can actually change the size and the color instantly. Just you could swipe your finger on a special board and even transform the clothes into different textures. So if you're traveling and the temperature changes, immediately you can transform and the clothes actually, you don't have to pack a sweater and then do this. It's just so convenient, so light. And look at all the mental space that it actually gives you to be able to do other things. And also the fact that you can be your own designer at all times. And it's kind of really fun.
Fantastic. People have much easier lives with these incredible technologies.
Yes.
But how do you have fun? Mark, can you please tell us, how do you spend your spare time?
Well, strangely now, Alina, for someone who spends all their time, in space, 90% of it, when I'm off or when I have some time off or annual leave, I like to go back to Mother Earth. And in particular, I like to visit Africa, because the world has changed completely in the last 50 or 60 years. A lot of the planet is now a nature reserve. So you go back and see the savannah in its prime. And that's what I like to do. So I get a little kind of hovercraft or helicopter. And I've been flying over. You can see all the different wildlife. They're all back to their old, or close to their old population levels, So you can see the elephants, the giraffes, and the zebras, They no longer have to fear being hunted by humans, each animal has its own drone to make sure that there's no more poaching or anything like that. That's what I like to do. The world, I visit the Arctic as well sometimes, and obviously it's very cold in the Arctic, but there's lovely wildlife to see, and you might transport there for a few hours and then you just transport back, So it's brilliant, I always look forward to my time off.
So interesting. And maybe Africa is not the only place that has been changed in the future. Sagar, how can you describe the climate on Earth?
The climate has improved dramatically. But before I tell you about climate, I would like to tell you that, Richard, Sophie, Nicole, and Mark have been talking about health, have been talking about mind, body, and the education, the breathing, the vibrations, and eradication of pharmaceutical and chemical companies. That all has added to improve the climate drastically. The earth has regained its former glory, and with no boundaries to travel, like Nicole is using the portal door, I work with all the teams all over the world. And you know what we work on? We work on keeping everyone healthy by providing organic farming. We try to make every home self-sustainable, ensuring the best of the technologies, but less wastage. Self-sustainable will also ensure the climate is taken care of. And technology helps us to get things faster and also protects our crops from natural calamities.
Such a great news that we get behind climate change, at least in the future. But that probably wasn't easy to achieve. Richard, how did you manage to unite to deal with those global challenges?
Well, there are two very large factors, Tatiana, in this. And I think the first one is, again, recognizing that we were utilizing capitalism as a structure and a system to, let's just say, be in control of others. And once we removed that, we unleashed our true human potential. And as we unleashed our human potential, we started to recognize the difference between man-made law and universal or God-made laws. In other words, as an example, I know we've all seen it. We know that if we take a book or something in our hand and we let it go, it drops to the floor. So we understand, if you will, a universal law of gravity. That really humbled humanity, because once we started to utilize more universal laws and started to recognize how easy they were to access through communication and the vibration of thinking and sharing through thought, that we started to think more like each other. And subsequently, that grew into an environment whereby all of the changes that we were trying to figure out how to make them, and in particular what we're talking about here with regards to the climate change and things of that nature, once we started adapting ourselves to the universal and God laws, it was so much easier for things to clean up, because we just utilized the natural vibration and harmony of the universe. For example, we all went back to 13-month, 28-day calendar on Earth, which is the most harmonious of the natural cycles. So we're now looking at the reasons for why certain things happened. And because we have the time, the space, the freedom, the vibration, the knowledge, the access to other worlds and things of that nature, we can now sift through and sort our problems so that we can go out and share what we've learned, and then we can learn from others what they've learned about mastering their life experience on their planets and homes.
Can I just say something there as well? The other thing that shifted is they had this bizarre system in the past where only a few people got to make the decisions. So all of a sudden, the whole world, we've got people from everywhere who are just great at climate change, just knew what the answer was, and they were able to work together, and it didn't matter where they came from. They had access to everything they needed. So people came from everywhere, whereas, I don't know, in the old world, there was maybe 10% of people making the decisions. Well, that's dumb. You only use 10% of the brains, you only get 10% of the solutions. Now everyone, whoever they are, gets to involve themselves in the issues that are important to them. So when you've got all the brains, then you have more solutions.
Absolutely. And we've built a true democracy, because democracy in a capitalistic society was all about lobbying and how much money you could offer somebody to do something in the context of work or a role. Without lobbying, we put the best people in, because those are the people who want to do the job. So if there's somebody out there who really wants to do something, most likely that person can get elected, because that's their passion. And when we understand all of our passions and all of us are working from each other's passions, there's no more jealousy on that level. Everybody's excited about what everybody else is doing because we're excited what we're doing about ourselves. So it all has to start with us. And if we're the proponents of what's going to happen in the future, we've really got to sit back and recognize that each and every one of us has an amazing contribution to be making to society. Humanity is going to continue to thrive in any environment because we'll master each and every environment.
It's so great that people get more free time and spend it together. How did the absence of power and money affect human relationships?
So let me tell you that when we talk about power and money, it all dependent because people were greedy back then. Now, as Richard and Nicole just said, the greed has gone out of the equation, and hence the nuclear weapons are eradicated. So there is no war, there's no fight, and there's nothing. That's absolutely pure love and affection that everybody talks about. And moreover, when we talk about democracy, it's more of contributors and no political parties. We all are as catalysts and contributors to the globe and the global society, making it a very wonderful place to live as a creative society. And because there's no currency and only it's only love and affection, everyone is happy, blissful, joy, and everyone has everything for abundance.
That's so inspiring. And it looks like it's completely shifted to personal responsibility and contribution, as you mentioned. And obviously, love is the best currency ever for everybody. So I believe such worldwide unification and interconnection require the development of communication technologies. What tools do you use?
Like worldwide voting and teleporting in the same room, as well as using holograms for quick matters. And like last week, I was talking to people in different parts of the world using the help of 3D technology. And we're just talking about how all of this changes truly made it more joyous and more comfortable for all of us to communicate in such speedy matters and be more connected than ever, and truly utilize all our gifts and enjoy that and flourish as a society.
Yeah, that's really incredible. But such technologies must be very energy consuming. Where do you get enough energy for all those advancements that you use?
Somebody from a different century by the name of Nikola Tesla initially provided us with the answers to these questions that he somehow protected for many years, or perhaps not so much protected, but with the existing or with the past existing, most recent existing ways of generating power and distributing power, as in Thomas Edison, who stopped Tesla because of monetary reasons. If they had adapted a non-monetary, a non-greed, a non-corrupt and manipulative society back then, the answers would have arrived a lot faster. However, sometimes the pain of evolution is something that we all must really go to I would suggest, to learn our lessons. And even though sometimes we can't learn our lessons individually, sometimes it takes groups of people to start to recognize what really truly needs to be done for the benefit of all. And then we can start going back and looking for those solutions and finding them.
I was so happy to hear that people of the future are using free energy and all these wonderful technologies are available to you. And it turns out, guys, that you don't need to earn for a living anymore, but you still work. So what motivates you?
So I suppose what motivates people these days, Alina, is self-actualization. It's inside every human from the moment they're born. They want to become the best possible person that they can be. And it turns out that's true for almost everybody. And that's what keeps our new system working. So each person makes their own contribution. Say for myself, it's out in space, but other people maybe it's with agriculture or with wildlife. So everybody has a place in this at the moment, you know. And going forward, there are such exciting opportunities, you know.
I would say tapping into our gifts and really realizing them. And just like self-actualization, self-transcendence truly comes from an intrinsic motivation of wanting to grow, explore, and discover, and truly sharing and celebrating and growing with all our human family and planet, and really feeling connected in that sense of oneness and being. So that's what motivates me.
And stories, we've been telling them before, since before we had language. So guess what? I get to write stories and people read them, and everybody in the world has access to the stories now. We don't even have to kill trees as they used to in the olden times to read them. So everybody gets to read stories. So that motivates me.
And what motivates me is about the joy and happiness which everyone carries together, and looking everyone so joyful, full of smile, keeps me motivated throughout the day.
Awesome. You must be very cheerful. So in what kind of mood do you wake up and go to sleep every day?
Well, Alina, every day I grow up excited because every day there's something new. Like I can see that I haven't seen before. Like just a few days ago, I was in a new planet and no one had ever been there before. It was a freezing cold planet, but there was still life there, you know, and I was the first person to set foot on that planet, you know. Like I never thought life could be this exciting, you know. And it's just, you just never know what will happen from day to day. And why might be exploration, but everybody has something that motivates them, and I definitely wake up happy every morning.
Yeah, incredible. And what makes me curious is in what year all of those wonders would become a reality for us?
It depends on you, on the action you take.
Awesome. We're actually planning another conference very soon to inform people about global crisis and how we can all mitigate it together. Come join us on July 24th on ALLATRA TV.
This is exactly the meaning of the creative society, so that every day we work to make the next day better for all and for every person. Is that right? That's the meaning. The deepest meaning of the creative society. Only this way, by means of a creative society, can we get to building Eden, a truly ideal human society. However, that will be the future. Whereas this is already the creative society, this is already our present, that which is already being implemented.
Igor Mikhailovich, people are very much inspired by what you say, and many say that it sounds so fantastic that it
seems unrealistic.
It seems impossible even.
I'll put it simply, if you sit and do nothing, it will remain fiction. But I heard every day, in my time, that it is impossible, it is fantastic, but I still did it, every day. So I recommend it to you as well, my friends. For fiction to become a reality, you only have to work to make fiction a reality in your life. And then what is impossible becomes possible for all of us. What is impossible for one is possible for all of us together. Isn't that right?